On October 21, 1966, a catastrophe struck the small Welsh village of Aberfan in the UK. That day, the tranquility of the community was shattered by the sudden collapse of a towering coal waste tip, and in a horrifying turn of events, this disaster claimed the lives of 144 people, including 116 school children. Welcome back, everyone. Today we'll take a deep dive into this tragic incident and uncover the shocking truth behind what happened in Aberfan. This disaster is often referred to as one of the worst mining disasters in British history and the worst school disaster worldwide. So let's pay tribute to the victims by telling their story. In the heart of South Wales, nestled amidst rolling hills and valleys, lay the village of Aberfan. In 1966, Aberfan was your typical small mining village. The community was tight-knit. People's lives revolved around the nearby Universal Colliery, which had been a vital part of the area's economy for generations. Houses were modest but sturdy, standing as silent witnesses to the lives unfolding within. They bore the marks of time, each wrinkle and each crevice telling a tale of the families who called them home. Among these dwellings were the homes of many families with children who attended Pantglas Junior School. This school was more than just an educational institution. It was a place where young minds learned, laughter echoed, and friendships were forged. It was a cornerstone of the community, nurturing young dreams and preparing them for the world outside Aberfan. On that fateful morning of October 21st, the air in Aberfan was crisp. The sky was clear and the sun was shining, promising a beautiful day. Life went on as normal. The chirping of birds replaced the morning bell as children from Aberfan and the surrounding areas made their way to Pantglas Junior School. The school, usually bustling with activity, was alive with the energy of 140 children between the ages of 7 and 10. Inside the classrooms, they recited their morning lessons, eager to start a new day of learning. The teacher was absent for the morning, so the kids were left unattended. Little did they know this would be the last lesson they would ever attend. It was around 9:15 a.m. when the unthinkable occurred. Without warning or any sign of the impending doom, a towering mound of coal waste located above the village came crashing down. The mountain of debris, known locally as the spoil tip, gave way and unleashed a torrent of black sludge that surged down the hillside at a terrifying speed. This wave of waste, a horrifying mix of mud, rock, and pulverized coal, was traveling at an estimated speed of up to 60 miles per hour. It roared down the valley like a dark tidal wave, leaving destruction in its wake. In a matter of seconds, it reached the village, engulfing everything in its path. Homes were swallowed whole, their roofs caved in, and their foundations torn asunder. The strong structure was no match for the sheer force of the onrushing debris. As it barreled through the village, the wave crashed into the Pantglas Junior School, burying the building under tons of waste. With the force of a battering ram, the school simply vanished beneath the debris. One moment it stood as a symbol of learning, and the next it was nothing but a memory. The noise of the disaster was deafening, a cacophony of collapsing structures and screams of terror. But the sheer speed of the disaster meant that there was no time to react. No one could have anticipated such a calamity, nor could anyone have imagined its ferocity. It was as if the mountain itself had come alive, wreaking havoc on the unsuspecting village below. Parents who were working at the Universal Colliery heard the roar and felt the tremors. Some assumed it was another mining accident. Others, sensing something worse, dropped everything and ran towards home. Their worst fears were confirmed when they saw the debris surging through the streets of Aberfan. They witnessed the destruction of their homes and the vanishing of their children's school. Amidst the chaos, parents ran desperately towards the school, their hearts pounding in their chests. Many had a premonition that their children were in grave danger. They arrived at the scene to find the school buried under a thick layer of debris. The sight that greeted them was heartbreaking. Parents frantically searched for their children, desperately hoping to find them safe and sound. Some parents were even seen clambering onto the debris, trying to dig out their children with their bare hands. Their cries filled the air, a desperate plea for help that echoed the horror of the moment. As the reality of the disaster sunk in, the villagers realized the gravity of the situation. The debris was too thick, the weight too heavy, and the chances of survival seemed slim. Still, hope flickered. Each movement of earth, every crack in the debris, brought with it the anticipation of finding someone alive. Sadly, those hopes were often dashed. Most of the children were found unconscious, trapped under tons of waste. Despite the best efforts of the rescuers, many had already lost their lives. It took nearly 3 days to remove all the debris and locate the remaining victims. When the full extent of the tragedy was revealed, the nation mourned. 144 people had perished in Aberfan, 116 of them school children. The disaster was not only a tragedy for Aberfan, but for the entire nation. The aftermath of the Aberfan disaster was a devastating ordeal for the families and the community. The loss of life was immense, with 144 people, including 116 school children, losing their lives. The emotional toll on the villagers was immeasurable. Parents who had lost their children were left shattered, grappling with the pain of losing their loved ones in such a horrific manner. The community of Aberfan rallied together to support one another during this difficult time. Neighbors, friends, and relatives offered their condolences and assistance to those affected by the disaster. The sense of unity and solidarity helped the community to endure the unimaginable. However, the trauma of the event continued to linger. Many residents were left suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, struggling to cope with the memories of that fateful day. The disaster also had significant social and economic impacts on Aberfan. The loss of so many children resulted in a profound sense of grief and despair. It was a tragedy that not only robbed families of their children, but also the community of its future. In the aftermath, questions were raised about the safety regulations and the decisions that led to the placement of the coal waste tip near the school. The disaster prompted major changes in mining laws and safety protocols to prevent such a catastrophe from happening again. The government established the Robbins Commission to investigate the causes of the disaster. The Commission's report highlighted the negligence of the National Coal Board in placing the waste tip on a hill above the village and not taking appropriate measures to ensure the safety of the community. As a result of the report's findings, the government implemented stricter regulations regarding the construction and maintenance of coal waste tips. These measures included prohibiting the placement of waste tips near populated areas, establishing clear guidelines for slope stability, and regular inspections to ensure compliance. Additionally, the government created the Health and Safety Executive, an independent watchdog organization tasked with enforcing safety standards across various industries, including mining. This move aimed to prevent similar disasters by ensuring that workplaces adhered to rigorous safety protocols. Moreover, the government compensated the families of the victims and provided funding for the construction of memorials to honor the victims. This aid was intended to provide some solace to the bereaved families and to acknowledge the profound loss that Aberfan had endured. To commemorate the victims of the disaster, several memorials were erected in Aberfan. The main memorial, located near the site of the disaster, consists of a bronze statue of two children holding hands and surrounded by a pool of water inscribed with the names of the victims. The statue serves as a constant reminder of the innocent lives that were lost. Additionally, a memorial chapel was built in the village, providing a place for remembrance and reflection. This chapel houses a collection of personal belongings of the victims, including their shoes and clothing, as well as photographs and personal items. The inclusion of these personal items adds a deeply moving and human touch to the memorial. Furthermore, an educational trust was established to preserve the memory of the disaster and promote educational initiatives related to health and safety. The trust funds educational programs and research related to mining safety and disaster prevention. This ensures that the lessons learned from Aberfan continue to be shared and that the victims' sacrifice is not forgotten. The Aberfan disaster remains a haunting chapter in British history. The loss of so many young lives in such a catastrophic manner shook the nation and led to significant changes in mining regulations and safety practices. As the community of Aberfan continues to heal, the memorials stand as powerful symbols of remembrance, ensuring that the victims are honored and their sacrifice is never forgotten. In closing, the disaster that befell Aberfan was a tragedy of immense proportions. On that fateful day, the lives of 144 individuals, including 116 school children, were cut short, leaving an indelible scar on the community and the nation. While the physical wounds of Aberfan have healed, the emotional and psychological scars remain. The disaster serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of stringent safety measures. As we remember the victims of Aberfan, let their stories be a catalyst for creating safer working environments and a stronger commitment to protecting the well-being of our communities. May their memory continue to inspire us to strive for a better and safer world. What are your thoughts on the tragic Aberfan disaster? Do you think the disaster could have been avoided? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video informative, please hit the like button and share it with others. Don't forget to subscribe for more updates on historical events. Thanks for watching.